public that wasn't previously made available by Mayor Ernest Davis's administration and or the Mount Vernon Police Department. And we have also reason to believe that the timeline that was dispensed to the public is inaccurate and or lacking in major details and missing several facts. So I'm going to tell the timeline as I've received it from a very credible source. On Saturday, approximately July 25th at 3 p.m., Raynette Turner was taken into custody for shoplifting of approximately about $40 worth of crab legs from Restaurant Depot. Raynette Turner was arrested by one Detective Aristotle Evans. I will display his picture shortly. A veteran detective that was working patrol that day, had reason to believe he was working overtime, and a police officer, Reyes, Hispanic male, a rookie who has only been on the job for about 5 weeks and is still in training. Upon information and belief, Ms. Turner complained of being ill almost immediately after being taken into custody. Detective Evans told Ms. Turner that she would be released shortly and may be allowed to post bail and or receive a desk appearance ticket. The sergeant on duty that day, also known as the booking sergeant, was Sergeant Robert Woodkey. That's W-U-T-T-K-E. Upon information and belief, Detective Evans asked Sergeant Woodkey, who's white male, if Ms. Turner could be released on a desk appearance ticket because it was apparent that she was visibly ill. Sergeant Woodkey refused to allow Ms. Turner to be released because she thought she was faking the illness. Upon information and belief, Ms. Turner vomited in her cell. Detective Evans and Police Officer Reyes then asked again if Mr. Woodkey, Sergeant Woodkey, if Ms. Turner could be released. Sergeant Woodkey again refused. Detective Evans then told Sergeant Woodkey that they're going to have to take Ms. Turner to the hospital. And upon information and belief, Detective Evans and Reyes transported her to the hospital. It is unclear from the facts I've gathered if Evans and Reyes waited for her the entire time or they were relieved by a second shift of officers. We do know that she was returned to her cell. Detective Evans left and went home that day and left the rookie Reyes to finish the police report, which is against Mount Vernon Department protocol. The senior officer must remain with the rookie. Reyes was not scheduled to work Monday morning and forgot to turn in the paperwork to the DA, which is the reason why when she went upstairs they had nothing on file from her. Reyes then tried to call in and have another colleague submit that information to the district attorney's office. Sergeant Woodkey is known throughout many in the Mount Vernon community to be a rogue and racist police officer who has been disciplined in the past for official misconduct. Sergeant Woodkey was demoted by former police commissioner Carl Bell for trying to cover up an illegal drag racing incident involving Robert Burke, the son of Mount Vernon Deputy Police Commissioner Richard Burke, the same person who's been dispensing his version of events to the public and the media. Sergeant Woodkey, upon information and belief, was charged and or convicted of DWI while on probation as a Mount Vernon police officer. Police officers have been let go for far less serious offenses, so it's unclear why Woodkey is still a police officer. Detective Evans, as far as we believe, is another one to have a write-up in his file for conduct unbecoming of a police officer for illegal surveillance of a civilian. Detective Evans should have never left the rookie alone and should also share in the responsibility to make sure the paperwork was delivered to the district attorney so Ms. Turner did not have to spend another minute that she didn't have to in the Mount Vernon lockup. Verification, if you were able to obtain the cell sheets, which show that Mrs. Turner was deemed active supervision, which means she should have been checked on every 15 minutes. Now we get to the jailer. The jailer's name that was responsible that day of watching her was a Ricardo Atkinson. I did dispense information. Ricardo Atkinson was in his position even though he failed the civil service exam. He was working out of title after he failed. He was changed. His title was changed to Community Service Aide. About 7 months ago, his title was changed back to jailer, and a requested exemption of 55A, the civil service rules, which means if someone has a disability, they may have help using a calculator or other device taking the test. This was signed off on by Police Commissioner Terrence Rayner in 1210 of 14, where it says the candidate should have access to a calculator. The candidate should have access to academic improvement classes. The jailer, on his basic belief, is the cousin of Police Commissioner Terrence Rayner's wife. So with these facts now made available to the public, I'm going to reiterate that Attorney General Loretta Lynch opened up a full-scale patterns or practice investigation into the Mount Vernon Police Department and their treatment of blacks versus whites arrested for the same crime.
Treatment of all.
I'm going to reiterate that Attorney General Loretta Lynch of the United States Justice Department opened up a full-scale patterns or practice investigation due to the treatment of blacks arrested in the city of Mount Vernon versus whites for similar crimes. It has been fact that a white person who may have stolen $500-600 worth of cosmetics from, let's say, Target, routinely would be giving a desk appearance ticket and would never see the inside of a Mount Vernon holding cell. I mean, we should have equal protection under the law. And Sergeant Woodkey, who is from Hopewell Junction, New York, which is over 98% black, I believe needs sensitivity training on how to deal with members of the African American community. One, he should be on modified duty pending the outcome, as well as the other officers, of this investigation, and that has not been done. And I will open this up to any questions that anyone may have.
Attorney General Eric Schneiderman is now looking into this. Is that not enough?
I have no faith in Attorney General Eric Schneiderman conducting a impartial and fair investigation simply because of the political connections from Mount Vernon, namely Democratic Commissioner and Mount Vernon Democratic Commissioner Reginald Lafayette, who sits on the state committee chair and who's also instrumental in making sure Eric Schneiderman is in office today.
These officers, you think they should be fired? What do you think should happen to these officers?
Well, the rookie is still on probation. I don't think he's already, with his death, possibly may cost taxpayers millions of dollars. So if he indeed is to get to do something, I believe the blame should not only be placed with him, but we also should look at disciplinary action for the senior officer, Mr. Evans, for not following through to make sure that paperwork was filed. If that paperwork was filed and she was able to see the district attorney, there's no telling if Ms. Turner will still be alive today. I think Eric Schneiderman should immediately recuse himself from this investigation and turn it over to Loretta Lynch and the Department of Justice. That's the only way we're going to get a full investigation. I'm a citizen, and I've released to you the arresting officers, something the media has not been able to get, and it's because of a whistleblower who knows that there's a cover-up taking place, release this information for disbursement to the public and the media.
Mr. Rivers, have any of these officers been assigned to desk duty during this investigation?
As far as I know, no, they're still working, and they still have their guns in their bag. Samuel, S-A-M-U-E-L, last name Rivers, community activist born and raised in the city of Mount Vernon. And I did provide documentation. Whoever didn't get it, I will be showing, if you want to see now, pictures of the officers, and I will be emailing it to everyone. But we have a